how to forget your ex. This is what we're going to cover today in this video. I'm going to share with you 5 major strategies, major techniques to forget about your ex. You might be in a situation where your mind is only focused thinking about your past relationship, thinking about your ex. When you wake up in the morning, your first thought is about your ex. When you go to bed at night or when you wake up at night, you think about your ex. You have to watch this video if you want to forget about your ex and move on for good.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
First of all, we're going to look at the mechanics, very high level, and then the idea of this presentation of this video is to explain you the different things and give you practical things that you can apply in your situation. So to move on from someone, to move on from a situation, or to grieve someone, or a relationship or someone, you have to remove first of all the triggers. Anything that is reactive, anything that brings you back to the relationship, okay? Then it's really about how you change the environment. So I'm going to look at some details, and it's kind of the proactive actions. And then the third one is really about how you can manage your emotions, how you can manage the thought process. It's basically reinforcing anything that you've done outside of your, in your environment to help you move on, to help you forget your ex. Okay, a lot of people are really good at doing number 1 and 2, but really bad at doing number 3. And I'll explain you why the last part is actually quite tricky, and it will actually be the one that will be critical if you want to move on or to forget your ex for good. So let's start with the first strategy. It's don't stalk, obviously. The urge to see what they're up to is really toxic. You have this urge and you feel that I'm just curious, right? You're thinking to yourself, I'm just curious. There's no harm in doing that. But while you're doing this, you're actually bringing yourself back to the relationship, bringing yourself back to thinking about, I should have said that, I should have done that, I miss that person, I want to be with that person. What you're doing right now is a little bit like someone who's binge eating or someone who has any form of addiction. You are trying to get your fix. What's going to create is, of course, for a very short period of time, sort of release. Okay, I see my ex. I feel good about seeing my ex. 2 minutes after, you'll feel really bad. 2 minutes after, you'll feel guilty. Exactly like someone who would be binge eating whatever sugary stuff and thinking, fuck, what am I doing? The idea is to really control your environment. My tip is to really unfollow your ex from social media. If I look at the balance, positive, negative, it's actually more, you're going to get more negative things short to medium term if you follow your ex on social media. Don't think it's nice. It doesn't have a positive impact. Overall, it will always have a negative impact. Number 2, again, a reactive technique to forget about your ex. Get rid of his or her stuff. The pictures, anything that you see on social media, the pictures you have on your social media account, for example. Anything that reminds them of you, that reminds you of them. Sorry. The idea here, and the idea of the not stalking, is to remove the triggers from your environment. There are so many things, I don't know, maybe it's the coffee machine. Maybe he loved having coffee with you in the morning. Your coffee machine reminds you of them. So change your coffee machine, right? This could be really things that actually will, some triggers in your environment that would bring you back to that relationship. Number 3 is to, when you find excuse to meet again. Again, it's a bit like the stalking thing. You think it's a good idea, you think it's going to be nice, so you find strategy to meet accidentally, to going to the same places, to your local coffee shop. Maybe you're asking mutual friends what they're up to, what sort of parties they're going to. It's a really bad idea, it's really toxic, because again, what's going to happen is you're going to bring you back to that relationship. And those strategies are obviously relevant if you're not neutral towards your ex. I guess if you're watching this video, it's because there's still a lot of emotion, a lot of either resentment or feelings towards your ex. I'm saying it's okay to see your ex if you're neutral, if you can become friends in a way. And I think that's the last part, the following part, because actually there are other tips. Don't be friends. It's okay to be friends with an ex. I don't have anything against that. But it's okay if you don't have any feelings. Obviously, if you're watching this video, it's because you have those feelings, negative, positive, but you have feelings. And becoming friends with your ex can become a dangerous trap. And I've had cases recently and in the past of people who think that being friends with their ex will actually help them long term. It's actually making your situation worse. Because what you're going to do is you're going to hope for a move from them. You're going to wait for a sign. You're going to stretch yourself. You're going to accept things that you don't necessarily accept. You're going to really over-adapt to a situation that is not actually what you want. I've had cases where my clients, they were friends and their ex was dating someone else and they were hoping that they will break up. And they will have this really toxic relationship. And the problem with that is that it's going to worsen your self-esteem. You're going to feel like I'm useless. You're going to feel like I'm nothing to that person. Because your expectation of that friendship is different to their expectation. Maybe they're just friends with you because they don't want to hurt you, while you're friends with them because you want to get them back. It's very different. So be really mindful about that trap. And when you do that, the problem as well is not only the self-esteem, it's also that you're going to miss out on opportunities to be happy with someone else. While focusing on building a friendship and bringing that friendship to a relationship, you're actually preventing yourself from meeting other people and being happy with people who actually want you, people who deserve you, right? Number 5, and I said there's 5 tips, but actually there's way more tips on this one. Sorry about that. So bear with me till the end, because obviously the last part, as I discussed, is the hardest part. Go out, see the world. Is again a very proactive this time, very proactive thing. So we looked at the environment, things that would bring you back to the relationship. Now it's really about how you can do something. So plan some holidays, treat yourself with a nice pampered day or days. Reconnect with friends you haven't seen in a while, find a new hobby. So these are kind of tips that you can see online, very common tips that you can see online. They obviously can't harm, but the idea is to really bring positivity into your life. Make some changes. For example, you can redecorate your home, change your haircut. It sounds silly, but this will reinforce unconsciously that you have in your life. The problem you have right now is that you're stuck in this chapter of your life with your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend. When you change the environment, when you change house, when you move to a new city, it's actually pushing you to change chapter, to close that chapter and open a new one. So the environment is actually very important with you. And this one is a sort of proactive way to populate those kind of things. Stop reviving the relationship. So now we look into the emotion as well. It's okay to cherish good times, but you need to find ways to be neutral about them. Okay, that's the essential part here. And of course, if the relationship was toxic, don't deny the bad aspect of that relationship. There are quite a few people who idealize their past relationship, and when I have conversations with them and they explain me their relationship and the dynamic, it's obvious for me that they were not happy in that relationship. But for some reasons, they idealize that person now that they are gone. And they're chasing for something because they just want something they can't have, right? And then by doing therapeutical work and discussing with those people, we are able to deconstruct those thoughts. And by having a clear vision about the relationship and also a clear vision of what they're after in a relationship, it sometimes takes a bit of iteration and a lot of reflection to discuss and come up with that. You are therefore in a position to move on, to forget about that relationship, because it's not an ideal relationship. It's not exactly what you want. And that fantasy that you had was actually not really what happened in real life. If you think about it, maybe you were not so happy about that relationship, and the reason you're trying so hard to get back with that person is because you can't have them. Another tip is to relearn to be happy I'm going to explain you a little bit because it sounds very high level, sounds very like, be the best version of yourself type of tips. What I want you to understand is you've been happy before. And the reality you're in right now is a distorted reality for various reasons. I think our brain, because of stress, because of the situation, because of those emotions, you are seeing your life, the environment, in a distorted way. And some of the rationale of the story you might be telling yourself is that you won't be happy anymore. The fact is that you were happy before and you can be happy now, right? And it's down to you. It's not down to your ex, it's not down to me, it's down to you. And so you have to deconstruct those thoughts that life is meaningless now, that you have no purpose in life anymore. You can control this aspect of your life and you can find peace in being with yourself. It's very important as well. Some people think that I can't be happy on my own. And of course, you have the right to want to have a family, kids, or have a partner. Fair enough. But you have to go through a phase of meeting with yourself, being with yourself, loving yourself and being at peace with yourself. It's the only step before getting a secure relationship. If you look at attachment theory, the reason some of the relationships fail is because you are bringing people who are insecure, who haven't really dealt with their fears. And when they're in a relationship, they behave in an insecure way. And therefore, it's really hard to construct something strong. So it's very important for you right now to learn from this relationship and to grow as a person and to develop that security that you will use in your next relationship. Recap. 3 recaps, super important. Very actionable. List out the things you could be doing today to affect your environment. So we discussed about the environment. We are people of animals of habit. And a habit is basically a trigger that actually make you think about a reward and you do that trigger. And so it's the same when it's about forgetting someone. You have to remove the triggers. So these are the things you can control. You just need to let go. For example, when I tell you unfollow your ex, of course you'll feel like, no, but I want to see, trust me, let go. You don't get anything by seeing the feed of your ex on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You have to let go and you'll feel better. Maybe not when you do it, but in 1 day, 2 days, you don't need to wait thousands of days to see the benefit. You'll feel better right away. So that's the first thing you can do. Second thing is letting go of your thoughts and emotion. And I know it's hard, right? It's a skill that you don't learn from your parents, you don't learn at school, or even worse. And globally, if you think of, if we zoom out, if globally we see a massive trend of people, and it's regardless of age and gender, usually people, I would say that the demographic of people who were interested in how to manage their emotions and thought were maybe women in their 40s. It's not anymore the case. You have people from all background, all gender and diversity who want to regain control of those thoughts. And there's various reasons about the world we live in right now. Lockdown, the uncertainty, the global uncertainty, the fact that we don't know exactly what's going to happen in 5 or 10 years. And if you look at stats, it's the only time in history where people are worried about what's going to happen to their children, right? But if you think at the fact that we've never been that wealthy globally, but that's the uncertainty that creates also this fear, those things that we can't control. Also one of the other reasons, and I won't do a thesis about that, but the over cognitive simulation, the fact that there's so many things around there, the social media, the TV, all this information that are sort of overwhelming and are preventing us from being with ourselves. When you're on your social media, very frequently it's because you're procrastinating on things or emotions. So rather than embracing and understanding your emotion, you'll be like, okay, I don't really like what's going on. I'm going to go on Facebook because I want that dopamine. I don't want to deal with that emotion right now. Okay, and we all do that. Okay, but the problem with that is when you do that, you put the dust under the carpet and you don't really address the problem. And this is no surprise that now there's a growing number of people who are seeking therapy, who are doing mindfulness, CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, hypnotherapy, mindfulness, all these support, all these tools for you to become more aware of your emotions and more aware of your thoughts. And it is essential for you to master this if you want to move on and if you want to forget your ex. Your personal success depends on your ability to understand and control your thoughts and your emotions. And that will have an impact on your personal life, that will have an impact on your future relationships, whether it's with your ex or with someone else, or with your parents, with your friends, and whether you'll move on or whether you want to get back with your ex. This is why there's a growing number of people seeking out therapy. And if you are struggling to really address that, because I think it's the kind of thing where people get the theory, but putting it into practice is really difficult. And that's my job, to help people and to guide them. So if you're not sure, or if you want to have some tips, give me a call. I have free 15-minute calls. The idea of those calls is to help you out get unstuck. Probably give you some tips. Maybe I'll give you some books to read, or things that you can do right away to learn or to continue that growth journey. And perhaps you want to try hypnotherapy, or you want to have more therapists discussing about your specific case, and we can discuss that together. But don't stay stuck. Obviously, it's great that you're watching videos and you're eager to learn, you want to move on, you want to understand the tools and understand how your brain works and why you're stuck in those thoughts. Next step, why don't you get in touch with me and we have a discussion. Verbalizing, it's not about venting, but verbalizing and expressing your ideas. It's also an amazing way for people to get those thoughts and emotions and have a clear idea of what's going on and what you should be doing next. Don't hesitate, give me a call. The link is in the description. And for the video, don't hesitate to like, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.